Back to the book. Bremerhaven was our final objective. It was 5th of May, 1945, 19 days before my 21st birthday. Think about what you were doing when you were 20.
I am. That's why it's so interesting.
Ready to break out. We were concentrated at Willstedt, about 20 miles north of Bremen, when the end came. And by the end, I mean the end of the war. 129 Brigade's order was stand down and splice the main brace, which is a military, it's actually a Navy term. Splice the main brace. It means like drinking light is lit. You can drink. The war's over. I had just given orders for our small part in the brigade's move forward against 15 Panzer Division, one of the famous Afrika Korps formations. In 1983, Jim Kingston gave me his copy of those orders, which he had kept all those years. Reaction to the end of the war, like aggression, increased further behind the lines one went. The natural aristocracy of the battlefield, the infantry, having fired a feu de joie of very lights, curled up and slept. We had learned too much to indulge in shallow demonstrations. So everyone's all fireworks and getting crazy. These guys are like, cool, I'm going to sleep.
Yeah.
Since July, we had come a long way from the Normandy beachhead. The battalion had lost 47 officers and 1,266 NCOs and private soldiers killed or wounded. After July 31st, 1944, no member of 18 Platoon was put on a charge. No one went absent or deserted. Of the original 36 NCOs and soldiers who had landed in Normandy, only Corporal Cheeseman remained. One man. Many came after them and lasted a few days, weeks, or months. Few I was able to thank adequately. I doubt if any of them realized how much I personally owed 18 Platoon. When I joined them on 31st of July, I was naive and gauche. Due to a narrow upbringing, except for a passionate love of music, my intellect and emotions were unstimulated. My achievement at school had been abysmal, my mind was undisciplined, and confidence in myself nil. This was rapidly swept away, probably within 3 weeks, certainly before we crossed the Seine on the 28th of August. Discovering an ability to command a group of men, some frightened and bewildered, produced a newfound confidence, particularly since I seemed to be able to achieve it quietly and without acrimony or fuss. Having to improvise tactics to overcome the shortcomings of battle school training also helped. It proved to me that in some circumstances, older and more experienced than I, others older and more experienced than I, could be wrong. I suspect that, as an only child, I had been brought up in too much awe of my elders. A new world had opened before me. Forethought and planning were demanded, imagination and instinct too. Was that apparently quiet Normandy lane lethal? The intense Spandau fire and mortaring along a dike, was it a prelude to an enemy's withdrawal? Did the orchard in front of the village hide 88s? My judgment in these things had proved equal to better than the most, and it was the making of me. It also brought a few problems. I'm now only able to plan and run things in my way. As a result, I'm probably unemployable. However, I would never wish to change places with the shy, hesitant boy whom circumstances put in command of 18 Platoon. Age 20, I was far too young and inexperienced to appreciate that an infantry platoon was the finest command in the army, and that the success or failure of a battle so often lay solely in the hands of a young officer. After careful reflection, I doubt that at any time since the war have I carried the burden of responsibility that I bore as a subaltern in battle. When an army, corps, division, or brigade was committed to battle, it was the battalion, company, and platoon commanders who took over the mantle of responsibility from the generals and brigadiers. In close country, forests, and street fighting, the platoon commander became the linchpin. Only the company and platoon commanders, particularly the latter, were able to have close relationship with their soldiers, which is a prerequisite for having above-average success. Failure by one infantry company could wreck a divisional battle plan. Conversely, gallant success, like B Company at Zanten, underwrote the battalion's victory. Again, I would emphasize the analog with the bond of professional respect between a great conductor and the members of a symphony orchestra, without which a truly great performance is not possible. Outstanding performances cannot be arranged in a concert promoter's office. They are created by some magic by the conductor and players in rehearsal and performance. Similarly, while senior commanders appreciated the strengths and weaknesses of their battalions and brigades, they could not extract a great performance from the riflemen upon whom victory depended. Only the company and platoon commanders, supported by their NCOs, could ensure that. 42 years on, I get considerable satisfaction from 18 platoon successes, more so than I got at the time. So those are his thoughts, and he's